bigger question for another day. But as the case continues to unfold again for the plaintiff, are we going to see Amber Heard like right on the heels of Johnny Depp, or do you expect a little, I don't know, what would we call it? Maybe a sorbet, a palate cleanser in between?
That's a really, really great question, Michael. I don't know. I'm trying to think right now what my strategy would be. I think maybe have her on next. What I think, just trying to take the perspective of a jury, I'm probably sort of tired of these, the long he said, she said type things. So on the one hand, it might be helpful to have a little bit more lighter testimony. But on the other hand, I could see how having her address some of these things immediately after, while some of what he said is still fresh in his head and fresh in the jury's head, might be beneficial.
Yeah, that's a very good question. I think if I were her counsel, I would want her called next so she can immediately refute and get her narrative out there. If I'm putting on the prosecution's case, I think I want to let Depp's testimony sink in before she starts tearing it apart. So I'd put in maybe a couple of other setup type witnesses just to again, not to jump immediately from his testimony to hers. But we will see what they're going to do. I think he's certainly likely to wrap up today. And so tomorrow may be the big day of unveiling whomever is next in the plaintiff's case. We are seeing a little bit of movement there. So let me ask you one more question before they actually get fired up here. When we look at this case on balance, it's a civil case. There's a lot of money being thrown around. It's a case in which, if you prove what I said is true, if I am absolutely true, I owe you nothing, we both walk away. Is this a case in which people are more interested in just the dirt of this relationship than the ultimate outcome?
Well, I think certainly Johnny's objective is to have his side heard. It's become very clear throughout the course of this that he's okay with putting out there all of the ugly of, yes, I have had very dark moments in my life. Yes, I am not the perfect person. I've had drug problems. I've had, I'm an alcoholic. I've had problems with physically abusing myself and hurting myself. But I did not strike Amber Heard, and I'm not a wife beater, which is what we heard in The Sun, and I'm not an so out just so he can tell his side of the story. Do I think at the end of the day he's going to win a defamation case or vice versa? Probably not, but at least he got his word.
Yeah, and you mentioned the Sun case, which is very important. Remember, that was a case in which the Sun had in their headline, Johnny Depp, wife beater. That was tried, though, before a judge. That was a bench trial. And even though there are many similarities, because we basically took the English system of justice, brought it over here, tweaked it a bit. The huge difference to me is that you got a jury involved here. And the judge in the UK case basically said, those allegations as wife beater, that was substantially true. I think that was the phrase used to justify using that in a headline, not to mention that it was a publication and all the different levels of proof that need to be met in the case like that. But here we got a jury. How much more important is that, and how different can this case be as a result?
Oh, I think it's so much more important. Juries are a lot more swayed by sort of emotions, theatrics, the dynamics of having celebrities there. They have all of their, individual biases. As much as we try to eliminate those biases in voir dire, it's unavoidable. People are different and have different ideas. And so, the law is one thing, but they are not trained to apply the law in the way that a judge is. So I think that is going to have a huge impact.
Yeah, and they also might be just more starstruck, for better or worse.